Welcome to Coffee Meets Cloud, where three women in tech come together to share real stories about leadership, life, and everything in between. Join our hosts, Karami McCollum.
Oh, I love the voice note feature, y'all.
Cassandra Parker.
I'm hanging in there like a hair in a biscuit.
And Rachel Rogers.
We have the power to change it.
Your go-to source for candid conversations and unfiltered insights. So, grab your coffee, pull up a chair, and join the chaos.
Welcome back to another episode of Coffee Meets Cloud. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm going to say happy Tuesday because guess what?
It's Tuesday. We're actually recording on a Tuesday.
We are so meta right now.
We're just getting real, we're
getting
wild.
Flexible.
Yeah, we're just doing whatever, whenever, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you roll when you've got a podcast and a full-time job. You just say, hey, when can you guys get together?
That'll
well, you got multiple full-time jobs because you a mama, you a household partner, your best friend, like all that.
That is true. I wear a lot of hats. And I can't help myself. Like yesterday, I tried to dive headfirst into something and Cassandra was like, first of all, that's not your problem. Like, chill out. And I'm like, you're right. And then in the evening, there's some new people in our neighborhood. Like people just bought some of the houses here and they have huge families with like 4 kids, like 2 different households have 4 kids. Immediately my thought is, oh my gosh, we need to welcome them. We need to like figure out how they can meet all the other kids who are already here. Like, and Jessica was like, you're not the only adult who lives here. You're not the only parent who lives here. Like it doesn't fall on you to be the owner
be the
of
neighbor.
The
neighborhood welcoming committee and making sure that everyone feels welcome.
To be the only one.
That's part of your personality and who you are. So, I mean, that's not a bad thing, but it does make it very stressful on you when you're thinking like, oh my gosh, I have to be responsible for welcoming everyone in the neighborhood.
Right.
You have to remember, remember your time is a luxury and not everybody can afford it. I just posted this morning, I'm in my I don't have to era. Right? Because
it's true.
I don't have to keep showing up for people that don't show up for me, right? Like you're on the HOA board, I'm on the HOA board. We've had new people that moved in. Could I type the newsletter, go have the conversation, do all of that? Yeah, but also like I don't know how I'm interrupting their lives by doing that. That's the one thing I always think about. Like when you're running a household, right? The evenings can be crazy because you're just getting home from work. You got to feed the kids. You got to do all of these things. Yeah, I don't know.
It is truly just my default mode.
4 kids each. That's a lot.
Well, we did at least one of the sets of neighbors is our next door neighbor.
Oh yeah, so you feel more responsible for the ones right beside you.
We did welcome them. Yeah, the day they were moving in with their several trips in the U-Haul. We got them some donuts from the little local donut thing when we were there. And like, hey, and that's when they told us we had 4 kids. I was like, thank you, Lord, because the house on both sides of us is for sale. And we're like, oh, please, whoever comes in here. Like, you just need to be a young family who gets it. We don't all have to be best friends, but please don't be some older couple that's not dealing with kids, that's got to listen.
Be quiet. Stay off my lawn.
Grumpy. I feel like your subdivision, though, is built for that a little bit more with a lot of the 2-story homes than
that is true.
Our subdivision is a lot of single family homes or single story homes, which is now, as my husband calls it, we live in the retirement community. And with a couple people with kids. Yeah. Which is a much different vibe.
Yeah.
Much different vibe.
Yeah.
Well, I am trying to actively practice unwinding that default mode because there's a group chat with the other HOA board members. My default is as soon as someone mentions a thing that needs to be done or should be done, I'm sitting down and doing it. So yesterday when there was some conversation, I was like, those are great. I'm thinking to myself, I didn't say this. Those are great ideas, guys. Hope one of y'all does that. Like I didn't say that out loud, but I was like, I'm just going to say, I agree and leave it at that.
Yep. You're going to, again, it goes back to what we talked about a few episodes back. You're going to do what most people just naturally do, right? But you are a person that is going up in your career, that you are a problem solver. That's just who you are by nature. So you see a problem, you can't help but jump in because
Mhm.
well, it needs to be done. So why wouldn't you do it? You have the means, the motive, you could do it. Why not? But a lot of people just skate by because they know people like the three of us will do it.
Old reliable Cassandra, she'll just do
Mhm.
it if I let her.
Well, not only do I have to practice that for my own well-being, but to take care of the relationships around me. Like,
Yeah,
my wife is my person who will be there no matter what, pick up the pieces, let me fall apart, whatever. But then if I'm expelling all this externally outside of this house and with whatever else, I have nothing left for what's in here.
Right.
exactly.
And I appreciate her because she does a good job reminding me of that. Like, listen, you could be the president. You could run the world if that's what you woke up tomorrow and decided to do. And I would be proud of you for doing it. But why?
Mhm.
That's enough. You do enough. Like, you have nothing
Yeah.
left.
You don't have anything to prove.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
what y'all been up to? Hard pivot.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a little awkward.
I don't want to dwell on
Um,
that. So I'm just gonna.
That's
no.
that's
All right,
Jeremy's
so
MO, hard pivot.
yeah, so we're gonna hard pivot
That needs to be
to
a T-shirt.
oh,
Hard
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 pivot.
pivot. Oh my gosh.
Hard
All right.
pivot.
So we're gonna move into this is now Tuesday, a Tuesday on a Tuesday,
Yep.
which means that my podcast with Sherry Wynn released the day before. So if you haven't checked it out, Sherry Wynn is a two-time Olympian. She does Olympic level coaching, she does executive coaching, and she really like her whole thought process is just to get you to think differently. It's not to tell you the perfect answer. We've all been in a workshop with her. I think we've had that opportunity. And
Mhm.
her goal is just to be like, okay, Karamie's point a minute ago, if you're doing this over here, then you're not doing this. Are you
Mhm.
comfortable with that choice? Yes or no? Neither
Mhm.
choice is right or wrong. It's just a choice. And
Right.
so getting to spend an hour with her talking about leadership, talking about hard lessons, was just an amazing opportunity, and I'm so excited. We'll link it here in, this podcast, but I don't know if you ladies wanna say anything about your experiences with Sherry?
Did
I
you
love
say the
Sherry.
name of the show? I don't think you said the name of the show.
No, I did not. Why would I say that? But
I mean,
Can we talk about Sherry real quick or
Oh, I'll
Cassandra?
I'll
Oh
I'll
my
talk about
gosh,
Sherry.
I'm
look,
now
even
like
Rachel's doing it.
a
Even Rachel's doing it now.
Wait,
Cassarami,
what did we say it was? It was
I don't know.
Cassandra
Cassandra. I don't
or
know. Look,
Cassamy. It was Cassamy.
Cassamy. There we go. Cassamy.
No,
Oh.
Sherry came and did leadership training with our leadership group once, and I just was like, "Wow, that's really great." And then I had a one-on-one training with her, just I mean, it was basically just a conversation where literally she was talking to me about things and asking me probing questions to kind of, draw out of you like what are you trying to get out of this, where are your goals in life, and that kind of thing. And I had this huge realization while I was on the phone with her. It was more like a therapy session than it was actually like a training. I cried on the phone with her, and I was like, I'm so sorry, Sherry. And she's like, no, this is a beautiful thing. This is great. You've realized something about yourself. I realized that as the oldest daughter, who was my sister, was always sick, so my parents were always having to focus on her. So I realized during my conversation with Sherry, she was like, it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to not have it all together. You don't have to be the good one. You grew up feeling like you needed to be the good one and the one who had it all together because your sister was sick, so you wanted to take that pressure off of your family of you don't need anything, you're good, you can handle it all, and it's okay to not be able to handle it all. And I was like, you're right. It's okay to be not okay. And like I cried. I was like, I'm so sorry. But that's the kind of thing, like she really just takes you out of your everyday and helps you see your life from a different perspective. And especially in leadership, because we all get caught up with, oh, I've got to do more, I've got to be more, I've got to do this thing in my career. And she's like, but do you? Are you
Mhm.
happy where you are? So I mean, she has a lot of really good points. So I'm excited to hear the episode because I do love Sherry.
Yeah, and it is Olympic Minds Podcast,
There we
Leadership
go.
Beyond Limits, episode number 34.
I knew it was Olympic something, but I couldn't remember the name of it.
Say it one more time.
Olympic Minds Podcast.
Olympic Minds.
Leadership Beyond Limits.
Olympic
Episode
Minds
34.
podcast. Dang, she's already 34 episodes in. Go, Sherry.
Well, yeah,
right?
but like the crazy thing is, I recorded this episode with her a year ago.
Oh,
I was
dang.
going to say, it's been a minute.
Yeah, I recorded it about this time last year.
Wow.
And it's just now releasing. That's how like ahead of the game she is on her stuff, which I totally love for her. And
Go,
kudos
Sherry.
to
Here
all
we
of
are recording the week before it releases.
Yeah, we never did get caught back up. We had a good thing going there for a while, and then we did.
But look, I think there's something to be said when you're more real time, right?
Yeah,
like we're
That's true.
talking about life as it happens, and I think that pivots nicely, not to do a hard pivot, to our subject today that Jeremy found. Dun dun dun.
Yes. Okay. So I don't know who all has seen this circulating. I think there's different clips, and it was recorded by different news outlets, so it really just depends. But I was scrolling, as one does, on TikTok the other day, and I came across a clip. This is not new news. This is from a Senate hearing that happened back in January of this year. And the hearing was called Plugged Out, Examining the Impact of Technology on America's Youth. And the clip that I saw from the hearing was specifically the testimony from I'm just going to say Dr. Jared, because we talked before this episode started, and none of us are sure if we know how to say his whole name correctly, so we'll just leave it at Dr. Jared. But I found his testimony to be really compelling, and it kind of sent me down a rabbit hole of looking into the hearing more and wanting to kind of hear both sides of the argument. Because when anybody gets up and gives testimony, that's obviously their opinion, but that doesn't represent the scientific community as a whole, right? Everybody kind of sits on different sides of a thing. But the premise is just talking about, if I had to wrap it in a nutshell, what technology in schools is doing to the cognitive abilities of our kids. And it's not saying, he's not saying technology in schools is bad. So I just want to be clear.
Right.
And I think the three of us are not saying technology is bad. We obviously love technology. We are technologists.
It's what we do.
We eat, breathe, and sleep pretty much technology, whether we want to or not. But it's really just like how it's being applied in schools and the effect it's having. So the start of the clip, he makes this jarring statement about in all of our recorded history, like starting in the of educational output, right? Starting in the early 1800s, every generation has surpassed their parents' generation in their performance, in the measurable performance of how they do in schools and what they've learned and their cognitive abilities, until Gen Z. And this is the first generation in recorded history who has not. And he is arguing that there is both a correlation and some causation between that outcome and the rise in use of technology in schools. So I would like us to talk about that.
Clearly, we need to make that very, very important differentiation. We're talking about the rise of technology usage in the classroom, not just technology usage in general, right? Because we know that's a completely separate topic. I saw this clip a couple of weeks ago, and it's very jarring to think that our children are not performing as well as we did, because obviously every parent wants their children to be better and do more and smarter and all the things than you. I actually had this conversation with my cousin, who is an educator. She's actually a assistant principal here locally. And when they started bringing technology into she was in charge of the, they call it the Early Learning Academy. So it's pre-K, kindergarten. And she was like, when they wanted to bring more technology in, I was very much against it, because I don't agree that not that we shouldn't use technology, but we should be very careful in how we use technology, because we are training kids to rely on the technology and not learning from other humans. And that's what I found Dr.
Yeah.
Jared, he was talking about. We are actually bred to learn from each other, not from a device.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like all the
Totally.
animals and all of the humanity, everything that's been. But the other thing is, technology would be okay if we weren't taking away things. The fact that we took away handwriting class because we implemented technology, like my daughter doesn't know how to write her name in cursive.
Right.
Why? You still need a signature. Like in the world, if you do nothing else,
Mhm.
right? You still need a signature for a check, because that
Mhm.
sometimes you have to write a check because you need a cashier's check for this, or you need it for that and the other.
Mhm.
Like you still need that basic thing.
Right.
You don't know how to write a letter, like how to put something in the mail because you don't know how to address it. And I
Mhm.
saw a clip of somebody saying, "Oh, well, I forgot to put the stickers on them." The stickers are called stamps, people. Like those basic things that we all had to learn in
Right.
school. I remember the cursive. I remember learning how to write a letter. Do you know how to address it? Do you know where to place the stamp? Do you know, like, if you put it on the back, what's that? What's this? Those fundamentals are no longer taught. So even assume that the technology does a good job at reading and language skills. The fundamentals are missing.
Right.
Those basics we all learned are not being replaced by technology. They're just like, yeah, we don't need those anymore. And I think that is probably why, like, if you can go and Caramy can write in cursive and she can pass that part of a test, you look at a high schooler right now, they can't do that. They can't read it. They can't. So yeah, they're testing lower.
It's like that comedian I saw. He said, if we wanted to take the world back over from this youthful generation, all we'd have to do was take away their cell phones because they couldn't find anything. We'll just go back to
Right.
regular maps and we'll write everything in cursive. We can take over the world.
Oh
And it's
no.
so true. It's
Yeah.
so true.
Well, they don't teach how to read a map anymore. It's
Nope.
not taught. How do you know longitude and latitude and how to get somewhere if you needed to? No clue.
I think it makes me nervous how technology reliant we've all
Yes.
become, like you guys said. But also I think it's like just to the environment that the technology is creating. I mean, and we're all do it too. So like this is not just Gen Z. This is not just kids. This is, I think, most people these days. Instant information, instant, like you can get from, like we were just talking in the last episode about how we use ChatGPT or Claude and we do prompt engineering to get straight from A to Z with very few stops in between. And while that is empowering and can really speed things along, you're removing all of the friction and the time and the things that create learning.
Critical thinking skills. You are
Right.
removing them because you don't have to use them. Well, I'll just ask ChatGPT. I mean, before such thing as ChatGPT, I remember one of my friend's kids was doing math homework and she had found some app that she could take a picture of and she could like get her answer to her math homework. And so she wasn't even trying. And she was passing math. Well, yeah, because you had all the exact right answers. It even showed your work. So she just had to copy and paste. And
Right.
it's a dangerous thing to remove that friction, to your point of that is how you understand the world, right? Like that is how you learn, you know what? I couldn't find it over here, so I've got to go find it over there. Or I couldn't find the answer I was looking for. I need to go ask so and so.
Well, yeah, because nowadays they just give up.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
Google didn't know, so no clue.
And to be fair, when we say we, again, it's not just kids. A lot
No,
of
it's
adults now,
adults.
we all we have AI summarizing meetings. Like, how much attention are we really paying now that we know we don't have to take our own notes? We can just go back to the transcript. Copilot will just summarize it for us. Like,
Now, let's insert a flip there really quick. The intent there is that you should be more actively participating in the meetings.
I agree.
Sure.
Which, if you have the right size meeting, which most people don't do because they invite an entire audience to watch two people speak.
Amen.
Then if you're using it in the correct intent, which is to increase participation and allow you to be present in the moment, then a summarization is good.
Yes.
Now, let's assume you don't use that. Jeremy, continue your thought.
No, I was just citing some examples because
Yeah.
I don't want this to feel like it's an attack on young people. I think we're all guilty. And the part I think that worries me as a parent is technology and the creative and really genius ways that people are figuring out how to use it to be more efficient. Like it's all changing quicker, faster than studies can keep up with the impact it's having on humanity.
Right.
Well,
So we're all doing this and we don't know what it's going to mean for one more
Yeah.
generation from now or two more generations from now. And yet we're still just barreling forward.
did you see that the CEO of Anthropic, when he was asked about his opinion about AI, it was the comment of like, I'd pause right now. Like,
Yeah.
if, and that's the head of the company that is building all of some of these great things that we're using.
Yeah.
That's pretty telling. So you've removed basic items from the classroom. You've removed handwriting. You've removed learning a map. You've removed some of these foundational skills. Then you're removing critical thinking because now you're relying on the summarization. You're not challenging an answer. You're not seeking alternative research, right? You add on top of that the curation of content that is being delivered. So if Karami believes that the sky is purple and Karami curates a model that all of Karami's friends also believe that the sky is purple and everything else, then Karami attacks the world as if the sky is purple. And
Well, it's not
Cassandra
even just
believes
AI
it
models.
blue.
It's all
No,
the algorithms, like all these
for social media, right?
all these consumption-based technologies, they
Yeah.
are built to bring you back. Their goal
Well,
is to bring you back to have more ad revenue,
Yep.
period.
it's not so flip that, not just consumption, right? It's any marketing technology. Like
Yeah.
marketing started out as hyper personalization, right?
Yep.
Hyper personalization has turned into the world looks exactly as though Karami curates it,
Right.
which means that you never get influenced by any diverse opinion, right?
Mhm.
You never have to be challenged in that way. So when you think about the interpersonal skills that kids are learning, if
Or
they
not
come
learning.
well, yeah, when they come from a very hyper personalized environment, they lash out, and they're lashing out because they've never had to deal with an alternative opinion in a constructive way. They've
And
always
I
just been able to say, "Nope, unsubscribe."
And
Yeah.
I worry about those kids when they get into the real world situations where they have to work with people of diverse opinions, diverse backgrounds, people that are outside of their bubble. They're going to struggle because they're not going to understand how to deal with those diverse opinions and diverse backgrounds and how to
Well,
have an argument effectively without getting into a fight. I mean, to be able to express their opinion in a certain way so that they are respectful of the other person's opinion.
the
Oh.
consumption topic, though, is a good segue into the other part about it, which is if we kind of zoom back out, because like we said at the beginning, we're not anti-technology. Not all technology is created equal. So there's a difference between technology where you're just consuming versus technology where you're creating. And so I guess my thing is like I want to do a better job knowing where the technology is used in my kids' classrooms. Like what part of their day do they spend on technology? What is the purpose of that technology? Is the computer teaching them? Are they just using the computer to practice things they have been taught? Is it a reinforcement measure? Like, is it coding, for example? Because if you're teaching them, like Rowan has
That's a
come
great
home.
skill.
Yeah, Rowan has come home several times and been like, Mom, can I go to such and such website to do these math games? Or Mom, can I go to such and such website to do this coding music game? And like they're kind of learning really elementary coding and it creates like a song or something. So I'm like, if they're being creators and using it in that way, I feel differently about it than if it's just a constant stream of consumption that's not doing anything for them.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I think
go ahead, Rachel.
one thing you just said there that struck me is, especially when you get into like high school,
Mm-hmm.
everything is the computer. I love teachers. My mom is a teacher. Let me start with that statement. But if where we are headed is that teachers are now just going to be essentially hall monitors because the
Right.
computers are going to teach, I think we're headed for a very different world.
Agree.
And I am really worried about that because I don't believe in that. I don't believe that the computer should facilitate the entire interaction and that the teacher is just there to say, hey, stop talking.
Mm-hmm.
The teacher needs to be able to lead. The technology needs to be closed. And you need to take actual notes. Like the heaviest thing in my daughter's backpack is her Chromebook issued by the school. And there's no notebooks. There's barely any paper to write anything because most of it is done on the computer.
Yeah. That's not good.
Well, and that was one of the things he said was in his testimony, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but basically he said, the problem is not that we are using technology in schools. We have to use technology.
Sure.
They can't go out into the world and not understand technology.
Exactly.
The problem is that we are framing the curriculum and what we do in the classroom around technology, not the other way around,
Mm-hmm.
which is essentially surrender
Correct.
to the technology.
We have definitely got to, and I don't know how we get involved to do a better job with our school systems of, where do we draw that line? I do think probably some school systems are better than others. This was a very generalized comment about, a
Yes.
large group of kids. So we don't know what that actually means. We don't know all of his, source, where he got this information from. So it could be different in a small town like where we live
Sure.
versus, a larger place where they're using it more. And I do know they use technology at Liam's school. It's only on certain days and, little bits at a time. So I feel okay with that. But to your point, the older you get, I mean, they give you a Chromebook when you're
Right.
when you're in high school.
Right.
I personally, even still to this day, with all the technology and all the things in the world, I remember information better when I handwrite it down.
100%.
I cannot type. I cannot be in a
100%.
meeting and typing. I do not pay attention. But if I will handwrite my notes, I remember everything so much better. And that's just how I work. And I'm afraid if we teach all these kids that they just type everything in, they're half paying attention. And there's just something about the manual steps of writing something down that triggers in my brain.
Well, and spelling. All the
Yes.
basics that you lose because the computer will correct it. You don't have to
Autocorrects
worry
it.
about it.
Vocabulary.
I have Kinley write handwritten notes for people's birthdays and things because, again, practice your handwriting. Let's make sure you know how to spell all the things. And the words she'll trip up on, I mean, she has almost straight A's in high school. She's doing phenomenal. But when it comes to physically writing,
Mm-hmm.
some of the things, I'm like, why that's not the correct spelling of like their, they apostrophe R-E versus their T-H-E-I-R. Like those simple things. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like that was just missed because she actually got a computer in school. Now they didn't get to bring them home, but when we moved to Georgia, which was elementary school, we moved to Georgia and immediately she had a computer, and we've been in 2 different school districts here. Immediately given a computer. And I'm like, well, wait a second. She was in 4th grade at the time. Like that to me wasn't a computer age. And then COVID accelerated computers because all of a sudden it was the only way to get schooling done.
Well,
But
that's
we
what I was
just
going to
never
say
tooled
too.
it back.
To be fair, right? Like, so he's citing the plateau and or decline of Gen Z in their ability to surpass the generation before. He's citing that as evidence that technology and the application of technology has had this impact. But to be fair, other parts of the scientific community have kind of pushed back on some of that because there are some other things that happened at the same time. I mean, to your point, Cassandra, the way technology is adopted varies so widely. That's a really difficult thing to study because it's not an apples to apples comparison. Like, Even though they did studies across the country and even globally in like 80 countries, and they see some of the same results, there's a lot of factors. The pandemic happened. There's a rise in like anxiety issues, sleep issues. Like there's a lot of factors that can go into this generation's well-being, we'll just say, that could change how school went for them, right? Aside from just technology.
Right.
That book, The Anxious Generation, is something they encourage teachers to read, and I would encourage anybody else to read it. But really talking about a lot of the topics of how we've actually raised a very anxious generation because of things like the pandemic, because of things like the notifications on your cell phone and needing that instant gratification of, oh, you responded. Oh, I'm keeping my, what is that? I don't do the Snapchat, but the streaks that people do,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like, oh, every day you sent me a photo.
One of
now
us
you
on here
didn't.
is guilty of falling into that trap.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're easy traps to fall
Sorry.
into, right? Like, because they reward behavior.
Yeah.
It's
It's
just like,
gamification.
It is.
right.
The gamification of
It
life.
it always reminds me of the star chart growing up, right? You wanted, like, the different colored stars meant something, and everybody's stars was on the thing for each month, and so you knew, like, this person was a screw up, that person was doing okay, right? Because the colored stars meant something. But
Mhm.
I think that's where this anxiety that we've introduced through a variety of factors is definitely holding people back. And in a lot of cases, it's become paralyzing for people. And I hope that, your mental health is important. Please, please, please reach out to a mental health professional. Get help. It's the most important thing you can do because the only person to advocate for you is you. And if you take it seriously, you can live a better life. You do not have to live with paralyzing anxiety that may have been brought on by some of these areas.
Yeah.
Preach.
I had a video pop up on TikTok the other day because, I mean, a lot of mine is about ADHD because I have a son who suffers with ADHD. So I had a video that popped up where it was talking about the correlation between this generation having more ADHD and all of these things. And it's a lot to do. Not always. Do I think that my son has a, genetic predisposition to those kind of things? Absolutely, I do. I don't think, I mean, you can watch the kid jump off the walls and know that like he clearly can't sit still. But a lot of it does have to do with coming up with technology and having that instant gratification and being overstimulated too much of the day that it's affecting the way that their brains
Is wired.
process and are wired, because you are learning from the time you are small till you're in your early 20s. Your brain is still developing. So if you are just constantly overstimulating your brain, it's going to have an effect. And to your point, Jeremy, we don't know 20 years from now what we're going to find out that it did to our kids, because we don't know what we do. I know whenever I was a kid in the summertime, I got kicked outside and I was told come back at lunch, or there'll be some Kool-Aid on the front porch or whatever. And we played with our friends. And now it's like, oh no, I've got to be entertained by my video game and I need 3 hours of tablet time. No, get your butt outside and dig in some dirt.
Remember the series that we saw, that the actual things right now is that the computers are creating a dopamine addiction. Like you're getting a dose of dopamine with the video game, with the app, with the social media streak that you're attempting to go. And it is becoming more like an addiction. It is not necessarily, when you start handing that tablet out at an early age, it does become the only way that they can get that high, the only way they can get that fix. There's actually mental health professionals now that will help you essentially go through like drug rehab, except
detox.
Obviously you're not right. They call it something different. I can't remember what they call it, but it is a program that helps you essentially reprogram to train yourself to get your dopamine fix that everybody needs. It's not a knock on any particular person, but to get it in other areas like going outside, like the going on hikes, just doing simple things instead of needing that video game to do it or things like that.
To tie into both of those with, the ADHD part and the dopamine part, like you're talking about, that's the other part that frustrates me about, I don't want to say public schools because I really appreciate the public school system.
100%.
I need the public school system. I can't afford to send my kids to. I would love it if I could have like a tutor that comes and just teaches them for 2 or 3 hours a day, or some kind of private something. But I can't, and I love our school system, but you have very little control about what goes on when you have them in public school. And for ours specifically, he does have ADHD, which means he is more susceptible to screen addiction and the dopamine. He's a dopamine seeker because that is what us
That is
ADHD
what-
people seek. And I mean, his teachers will even tell you we have a hard time getting him to close his laptop once we've started. Like pulling his attention away from that is increased, like throughout the school year became increasingly difficult. And I asked, well, like, does he have to have it? Is there a way around it? I mean, like, I don't care that he has the dang computer. He uses devices at home. He'll learn technology. It doesn't have to be in here.
Right.
But they can't do that because they have to teach them all the same. They got to follow the same programs. And so there we are, just left going, well, I don't know what you want me to tell you, Miss So-and-so, because if it were me, I wouldn't do it. I would take it away. But what else is there? So I don't know. I think I don't want this to sound all doom and gloom, poo-poo technology. No. I think what this just comes down to and what it got my gears turning on is like, it's not about anti-technology. It's not about don't do technology. I think it's just about being mindful and trying to do it responsibly and bringing parents' attention to just some of this insight. And what I started like trying to research more on was what are the opinions in the scientific community about how to combat some of these things that are becoming a natural byproduct of the technology use. So like for each cognitive ability that seems to be suffering as a result, what are some things you can do?
How do you boost it up yourself at home?
How do you boost it up? What are some countermeasures? So the first one that I think we talk about all the time is the sustained attention, because you have that constant, like think about TikTok, right? Like as you scroll, you're getting entirely new content, sometimes every 5, 10, 15 seconds. Not only that, but the content creators are purposefully switching angles and lighting and environment, like background, so rapidly, even in that one clip you're watching, to keep your attention, that it is just a constant stream of bam, 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 bam. Like it is wild. So for
we
kids,
all get wrapped up in it. I mean, how many times have you gone down a TikTok rabbit hole? You look up and you've been on it for an hour and you're like, whoa, there went an hour of my life.
Absolutely.
And I saw stupid junk for an hour straight.
Thank you to that lady whose video pops up almost every night that I'm doing it. And she says, are you still scrolling? Have you been scrolling too long? She's like in your face. And she's like,
and you're like, you know what?
Should you be asleep? I'm like, oh,
put it down.
You got me.
Thanks, Grandma.
Fun fact, attention is trainable, right?
Yeah.
So some countermeasures for kids, like there's some activities you can, I'm going to say require that they do. I'm not even going to say encourage, because my kid's still young enough where I can just be like, nope, screens are off. You got to go spend a couple hours doing literally anything else. So for the sustained attention, things like reading, Legos, puzzles, crafting, model building, going outside,
playing with other kids,
creating music. Yeah. So those are some things you can work on. And then working memory. Oh my gosh. Okay. My working memory's terrible. And it's much worse than it used to be. So I'm like, is this because of my use of technology?
Could be.
Is this the ADHD? I don't know. But the easy retrieval that we can all do now replaces the working memory. Not needing to know the phone numbers, not needing to know how to spell the thing.
Mm-hmm.
We have already cited several of those examples. So your working memory is weaker. So some of the activities for that, let's see, card games, memorizing songs and poems, mental math. That's that math in the air that your girl cannot do. Directions without GPS.
See,
sounds
okay,
terrifying.
no, but
That
it's
sounds
not. It's
terrifying.
not because I've maybe it's just because I have a natural sense of direction. Okay, and I do. I get that from my dad. If I've been there once,
She's like a pigeon.
I really am. If I've been there once, I can pretty much find it again. Like that's just how it is. But that is so important because when my son, especially my middle son, who Lord love him, is like lost in the clouds half the time, bless his heart. That's just how he lives his life. When I turned him loose with keys, we were like, Jared, do you have your phone? Can you put in your address to get to your house, to get to? He didn't know how to get anywhere. And it's not because he hadn't been these places a million times in the car with us. It's because he was focused on an iPad or just focused on anything else and not paying any attention. So directions, even if it's not just like, I don't want to go to California, but I want to be able to go in my town to be able to find things. Hey, what if this road's closed? How do you get around it without using your phone?
Also, turn off autocorrect on your phone.
Yes.
Turn off the ability to autocorrect your spelling. It will drive you nuts for a little bit, but then you will realize how horrible your actual spelling became, and you will re-engage that skill set. So if you are
listen, I'm going to sound smarter because the way iOS is out here trying to make me look dumb, like that is a whole different word than what I was putting in this sentence. What made you think I was trying to say purple when I was talking about literally nothing about colors?
But do you know how many people don't go back and read it? And then they're like, oh, it just got me again.
Oh, I do. I'm one of those that sends that really scathing email and then rereads it from her sent folder like 5 times that day because I still just feel really good about how I worded that.
People don't. So many people are, especially on text, are just like, they send it. And then you go, what does that sentence doesn't make sense. Oh, I meant blah, blah, blah. Well, it auto-corrected. Like that sentence didn't even grammatically make a single bit of sense.
Yeah.
Those small steps will help, though.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think you just have to just implement what you can. It's not an all or nothing. None of us are going to be perfect. Just work on the things you can, right?
I think the first step to the whole thing is realizing that you have got to make a change, that you can't just let the world teach your kids, that you yourself have got to do things differently and just be aware of the fact that there are these things that are going on and you've got to do something different. And awareness is half the battle. If you are aware that you've got a problem, then you can help fix it.
Let's have a hot take really quick.
Uh-oh.
No, what? Rachel? Hot take?
Rachel on a hot take? Shocker. Hot take
what
alert.
What does it say about us as parents that it took somebody going to a Senate hearing to say something for people to go like, oh, wait, maybe we have a problem? I feel like on this podcast, we've called it out so much when we keep talking about critical thinking skills. We keep saying like, hey, they don't teach handwriting, like these fundamentals. But it's not until somebody goes and makes a big grandiose speech that now people are like, oh, wait, maybe I should parent my kid. Like maybe I need to step up in the learning journey. I think we've gone back and we've said, oh, I need to teach you right from wrong. We've actually decreased our parental responsibilities as this technology has come in because we're like, oh, it'll be fine. So as technologists, I feel like we are more aware of the dangers of technology. So we are happy to talk to anybody who wants to talk about them because we will help you out. Like if you need parenting tips, we got you. But I do think that there's something to be said about even how we are parenting in this generation as a result of technology being introduced. Some people backed off of our skills. And with that, we're out of time. Karami, take us home.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode. We are glad you were here. We'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts? What are some things you're working on with your kids at home to work on these cognitive skills? Or what are some things you've realized as an adult you've lost the art of and you really need to dial that back in? You can connect with us on socials at Coffee Meets Cloud or visit our website at coffeemeetscloud.com. We hope we'll see you next week. And until then, keep your coffee strong. See you guys later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.